Hi children, today we are going to discuss about the chapter first related to the addition of a manure in the crop. The crop production and management chapter, we are going to study about the addition of manure and fertilizer. First of all, the meaning of manure and the fertilizer and the difference that exists between the manure and the fertilizer, and how and in what way the manures and fertilizers are going to be added to the soil to enhance its fertility of the land. Okay, let us discuss in a detail related to the meaning of a crops and why these manures are going to be added to the soil. Because you know that when crops are grown one after the other, it decreases the productivity of the soil. That can be overcome by adding manures and fertilizers to the soil. That increases the yield of the plants and also restores the productivity of the soil. That's why we are going to add the manure and the fertilizers, because which increases the efficiency of the fertility efficiency of the land, that soil which is present in that agricultural land. So, in order to add that type of things which enhances the fertility of the soil, you must know the meaning of that words manure and fertilizer. What is manure? Manure is obtained from the decomposition of dead plants and animals. Manure is obtained from the decomposition of dead plants and animals. Then what is fertilizer? Fertilizer is a chemical substance that contains necessary nutrients such as nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus to make the soil fertile. See, you have observed the difference that exists between the meaning of the manure and the fertilizer. Manure, it can be obtained by the decomposition of a dead plants and animal body. Chemical fertilizer means they are the chemical substances which are synthesized by a person or a man, which contains particular elements like nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. But both are required to enhance the fertility of the soil. In order to know more about this fertilizer, I will give one example. You are going to see in agriculture land the addition of urea to the soil. So that urea is nothing but a fertilizer. Let us discuss the advantages of a manure. Before going to discuss about that, watch this picture, which is very useful, how to understand how the manure is going to be mixed with the soil and which enhances the fertility of the soil, and how it is useful for the growth of a new baby plant, and how it is helpful in getting more yield in the during the crop production. See, this picture helps us to understand when you add some organic matters, that means decomposed plants and animal matter, to the soil gets started to mix with that decomposed material with the help of microbes which are present in the soil. Then that get converted into a nutrient or soil with nutrients. That soil, that nutrients, minerals, water, that are all going to be absorbed by the root of the plant for its growth. So in this way, the manure, the fertilizer, whatever the things that we are going to add to the soil to enhance its fertility, in this way the plant is going to be absorbed and it leads to the growth of that plant. This picture help us to explain about the manure, how it is going to be mixed with the soil, and that mixed manure contains lot of nutrients. That nutrients are going to be absorbed by the plant for its growth. Let us move on to the advantages of the manure. What are the advantages that we are going to notice due to the addition of manure in the soil? Let us discuss in one by one. It increases the water holding capacity of the soil, that you have to observe carefully. Not only roots which holds the water, but the holding water in a soil also increased by the addition of manure. Second point, it makes the soil porous and facilitates the exchange of the gases. Just like pores have in our skin, it helps us to excrete the gas substances. That means you know that the skin is also a one of the respiratory organ. Like that soil surface, that soil pores and fertility facilitates the exchange of gases due to the presence of this manure, and it helps to improve the texture of the soil. That manure, due to the number of microbes, when the number of microbes increases in the soil, definitely we can see the loosening of the soil with the change in the capacity of the soil, which is very much needed for the fertility of a crop. Okay, so in this way, it is the addition of, by adding manure to the soil, these are the benefits that we are going to get it. After knowing about this, let us discuss about the process. The process what we are going to do in the agriculture land to add the manures to the soil is called as a manuring. Then you can say that what is manuring? The process of adding manures to the soil to enhance the fertility of the soil is known as a manure. So, is that manure has to be done every time? No, there is some restriction. At a regular interval of time only it has to be added. Otherwise, due to the excess addition of this manure also leads to the different kind of problems which may spoil the crop also, the production of crops in the field. So that's why the manuring should be done at a regular interval of a time. So otherwise the plants will become the weak. So the use of manure has a many drawbacks. They can be a rather difficult to transport and are not nutrients specifically. That means for transportation it takes lot of we have to face lot of difficulties while transporting manure from one place to other places. And also sometimes it will not provide what specific element is needed to enhance the fertility of the land. But it is very useful and it is not combined with any chemical substances. Here you can notice the different types of manures that we are going to see in the agriculture field, and they are going to be added to the soil in order to enhance the fertility of the soil. See, one by one I will read the names. That vermi composite, and second one is farm hand manures, green manures, sludge. So these are the things that we are going to use in our agricultural field in order to enhance the fertility of the land. Okay, let us discuss the advantages of the fertilizer. Already you know that fertilizer is a chemical substance which is going to be added to the soil to enhance its fertility of that soil. So what are the advantages that we are going to have due to the addition of this fertilizer? First one, They are quick in providing plant nutrients and restoring soil fertility, just like instant food. These fertilizers provides nutrients and restoring soil fertility, and they are portable and easy to transport. Compared to manure, the fertilizers are very easy. They are easy to transport from one place to another place. The plants absorbs fertilizers easily, and the fertilizers improve and increases the productivity of many crops such as wheat, maize and rice. So these are the benefits that we are going to get it by the addition of a fertilizer in the land, agricultural land. See, after knowing about all these things, but one thing we have to observe, the fertilizers are chemicals and they have the potential to decrease the fertility. See, potential to decrease the fertility means what it hit after one continuous use of these chemicals to the land, it decreases the fertility of the soil. That means the potentiality they have that fertilizers have the potential to decrease the fertility of the soil if you use constantly and continuously. Furthermore, it pollutes the water bodies. So these are the drawbacks that we are going to face due to the addition of this fertilizer constantly to the soil. So, but are distinct in some ways or the other. The major difference that you can notice between manures and the fertilizers, you can notice in this chart. Before going to discuss about the difference that exists between the fertilizer and observe these pictures, how the fertilizers are going to be added during the production of crop in our land, and in what way, in the liquid form, in the solid form, and in just like small pills like substances we can see. So they are considered as fertilizers. And this chart at this picture help us to know that manure is naturally obtaining that's one substance which enhances the fertility of the soil. Fertilizer is the chemical substance, but after using it for a constantly, it reduces the fertility of the soil. This is the main difference that exists between the manure and the fertilizer. Let us know one by one with the help of this chart what you are observing on the screen. So manures are obtained naturally by the decomposition of dead plants and animals. Fertilizers are chemical substances and not typical natural. Second point, what is the difference that exists between manures and fertilizer? It is not very rich in nutrients. Which one is not very rich in nutrients? Manure. Fertilizer, it is very rich in soil nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. The manures are slowly absorbed by the plants. But when you add fertilizer, they are easily absorbed by the plants. Manure provides a lot of humus to the soil, but fertilizer does not provide any humus to the soil. Humus to the soil. The manures prepared naturally in the field only, but the fertilizers are going to be prepared in the factories. So the place where they are going to be prepared, you come to know now. That means manures are going to be prepared naturally in the fields only, but fertilizers are going to be prepared in the factories. And manures do not improve the physical condition of the soil relatively. The fertility improves the physical condition of the soil also. So when we consider manure, it does not adversely affects. That means it will not spoil the plant or a soil if supplied in a large quantity. Suppose if you are unaware about the quantity, quality, and how much we have to add to the plants or a soil about these fertilizers, definitely it adversely affects the soil and the plant if supplied in a large quantity. So these are the difference that we can observe between the manures and fertilizers. I hope you have understood in a better manner what is the difference that exists between the fertilizer and the manure. So, based on all these points, nowadays frequently our education is are asking these questions. Let us discuss in detail. How is manure different from the fertilizer? So, in a short form, you can also write the difference in this way. Manure is an organic matter added to the soil to increase its fertility. On contrary, fertilizers are the chemicals that are added to the soil to increase its fertility. Fertilizers might harm the soil, but manure is environment friendly or eco friendly, you can also see. Okay, next question it is frequently asking, that is, why is manure considered over fertilizer? That means, why manures are better than the fertilizers? Here is the answer. Manure adds nutrient to the soil without affecting its fertility. See, manure adds nutrient to the soil without affecting its fertility. It does not damage the crop and produces healthy plants. Fertilizers are the chemicals which lower the fertility of the soil. See, the manure enhances the nutrient and that fertility of the soil, but fertilizers, they lower the fertility of the soil. That is the main difference. That's why we consider manures are better than the fertilizers. And they also damage the crops. Which one damages the crops? Fertilizers damages the crop and make them unhealthy for consumption. So fertilizers makes the crop, damages the crop and makes them unhealthy for consumption. So that's why the manures are better than the fertilizer. That means the scientist insist us to use manure instead of fertilizers in our agricultural land. So next, third question which comes to our mind, which chemical is used in fertilizers? Almost all fertilizers contains chemical substances, but in all fertilizers, one of the common chemical is going to be used, that is ammonium nitrate. Why? It is a good source of nitrogen, is an important integrants in the production of fertilizers. So if someone comes and ask which one is which chemical is common in all the fertilizer, you have to say ammonium nitrate. Why it is ammonium nitrate is going to be added in all fertilizers? Because it is a good source of nitrogen and it is very important in ingredient. It is very important ingredient in the production of fertilizer. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are the other macronutrients which are also added with the fertilizers. That means essentially present in the fertilizer, you can say. Let us see the fourth question. What is green manure? Green manure is the cover crops or plants left in the field to decompose. See, the green manure is the cover crops or a plant left in the fields to decompose. These acts as a manure for the soil. So in this way, the some questions frequently asking by the educationist or environmentalist in order to know the benefits of the manure or addition of manure to the soil, what is the result that we are going to get it. See, fertilizers are just like a instant foods. they enhance the that fertility of the land for a particular period. After constant using, they may spoil the quality of the soil. So that's why instead of using fertilizer, if you start to use the manure, it will not affect the soil and also not a plants. So that's why they are all considering that instead of using chemical substances, that means fertilizers, we have to prefer to use the manure to safeguard the fertility of the land, and also to save the plants which are going to be occurred due to the damages occurred due to the addition of the fertilizer. So these are the things that we have to consider in a mind while adding manure and the fertilizer to the soil in order to get a more production of crop, and also in order to maintain fertility of the soil. Thank you for listening, and keep reading. All the best.